Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 531, written by L. Graves 72. A borderline useless psychic ability, but cool, too. Me and my friends joke that I'm an incredibly useless psychic. I've always kind of had dreams, or perhaps false memories of dreams that came true, but I chalked it up to déjà vu. When I got my first phone, I realized that I would often get the urge to check it just before I got an important message or a text from someone I was waiting to hear from, which has continued to this day and caused my girlfriend to think I'm constantly on my phone since I just happen to look at it right as she messages me. I'm not allowed to talk during movies or shows with my friends because I'll just accidentally ruin the story by saying a specific plot element or twist when I'm trying to make a joke, and I've landed on some pretty out there details before. In some strange examples, I've brought up worries, thoughts, ideas, etc. I've had with friends and family, and they'd be dumbfounded as it would be something they had on their minds or were meaning to tell me. The night my ex-boyfriend cheated on me, I knew as soon as it happened, despite not really having a reason to, and he didn't confess to it for another few weeks when I eventually confronted him. For the most part, it's been completely useless, but a couple of times it's helped quite a bit. Like I've had dreams about traffic before. I've texted a friend I missed him on a night he was doing particularly bad, which saved him, and I've avoided getting yelled at by choosing a different response or action than I remembered taking before in the exact same situation at a point in a dream. I mainly say it's useless because I can't control it in any meaningful way, and usually it'll just be things that aren't particularly important or that I don't really need to change, so I just do what I did before, with the foresight that I'd be doing it again. Case file number 532, written by Mehhucklebear. When you find out, you're the NPC. This happened when I was a teenager, like pre-2000. I had just gotten home and no one was there, no cars or anything. I go to my room to listen to music. I didn't have a computer and smartphones weren't a thing. I start getting hungry, so I walk to the kitchen. I look out the hallway window and there's still no cars in the driveway. I walk through the living room and look directly at the couch. No one is there either. Finally, I get to the kitchen, make a sandwich, and get a cup of water. As I'm walking back through the living room, my stepdad says, "Aren't you gonna say hi?" I drop everything and scream like a 10-year-old girl at their first haunted house. I ask him when he got home, and he hits me with some glitch. He says he's been home since before I was, and he was wondering why I hadn't said hi when I got home. I said, "No way, your truck isn't outside, and you were not on the couch when I came in or when I went to the kitchen." Then he says, "Dude, you walked in, looked me dead in the eye, and didn't say anything. You then walked to your room and started listening to your music way too loudly. Then I see you strolling towards the kitchen, looked me dead in the eye again, and still didn't say anything. Now you come out of the kitchen, spill crap everywhere, and blame me like I'm a freaking ghost or something? Come on. I've been here the entire time, and my truck's been there too." Immediately, I opened the door to find his truck was there, and then cleaned up my mess while he grumbled about me being ungrateful, among a few other choice words. To this day, I have no idea what happened, but I swear on everything that's holy that he was not there when I got home, and his truck sure as heck wasn't there either. I know because the way I walked up to the porch would have meant that I walked through his truck. His truck was also loud, very loud, and had he got home while I was in the kitchen, I would have seen or at least heard him. Plus, even if he was trying to mess with me, how did he know exactly what I did when I came home? And why was he so pissed when he accomplished his goal of freaking me out? I think I may be an NPC. Case file number 533, written by Avina Fatua 00. Multiple light switches, moving on their own. Okay, so major weird event. I've been living in my current place for less than 2 years now. It's a rented room in a shared flat. I only shared it with another guy, a friend of mine, and used to share it until 2 weeks ago with his cat as well, who sadly passed away. The thing is, the light switch for my room was located outside my room, next to the door. I remember telling my friend about how annoying it was and how it was weird that there was not another inside the room. Like, okay, one outside is acceptable, only if you put another inside too. But the bathroom and the kitchen worked the same way. Just light switches outside those rooms, none to be found inside. It was very weird. So as uncomfortable as it felt, it wasn't the only room working like that in the flat. I specifically had to add a couple of lamps inside my room in case I wanted to have light without opening the door. Just in case I wanted privacy, you know? So guess who's inside my freaking room looking at me like if I was an absolute imbecile? Yes, that's right, the light switch. And there was not an extra one, no. The one outside my room next to the door has completely vanished. It's as if it just moved itself inside. I'm here sitting dumbfounded, starting to doubt my sanity. What if I've been hallucinating for almost 2 years? But it cannot be because I remember talking explicitly about this with my friend more than once and establishing the whole 2 lamps business because of it. I have no words. Something feels terribly off, like it didn't frighten me or leave me extremely distraught, but just this unrelenting feeling of low blood pressure in the general feeling of everything around my house right now. I have been checking all the switches and have left and entered the place a couple times as well. Maybe somehow I've been mistaken all this time, but that, in my opinion, just sounds more crazy than a glitch in the Matrix. Bonus file, written by Micro Throwaway 64. Whatever this secret force was, terrified the life out of my dog. I had just turned 22, and my parents had sold their house and purchased a place out in the country. On a property, there was a big shed not far from the house that I decided to turn into. I felt kind of uncomfortable in the shed sometimes, but my dog kept me company, so it wasn't so bad. Anyway, I had been there maybe 2 weeks, and one night I'm on the computer. My dog was asleep at my feet, and I needed to pee, so I got up and went outside to handle my business. It's a beautiful, clear night, and the stars were incredible. Next thing I hear is a shed door slam behind me. I turn immediately and try to open it, but it won't budge. From inside the shed, I can hear my dog starting to growl, quietly at first, then louder. Now he's barking and I'm panicking trying to get the door open. I must mention that I'm 6'5" and well built, play sports, etc. But even ramming my full weight into the door won't open it, and I'm really panicking now as my dog's barks turned into whines, then whimpering, then silence. With all my might, I slam into the door one more time and it flies open. The light is off inside now and it's pitch black. It won't turn back on, and I'm in complete darkness. I can't see my dog anywhere, and I stumble around trying to find a torch. Finally, I find it and pick it up and turn on my torch, and I wasn't prepared for what I'd see next. My dog had literally squashed itself into the furthest, darkest corner of the room, eyes closed, and was shaking violently. I immediately moved towards him, and as soon as I got within reach of him, he leapt at me into my arms and wouldn't move. I picked him up, and I swear I've never ran so fast in my goddamn life. I never stepped foot in that shed ever again, and my dog wouldn't even go near that part of the property. I don't know what happened in that shed that night, but I'll never forget this. Case notes, bonus file. A clear-cut case of a malevolent presence if there ever was one. I've never heard of a dog being described as having so much fear before. What would cause that? Perhaps a demon revealing itself in its full essence of terror and pain. A la Hellraiser. Dogs and other animals have extremely strong senses, smell especially. It's said that demons emit sulfur compounds. I wonder if you smelled anything foul when you finally busted through the door. Even if you didn't, if there was even a hint of it, your dog would have detected it, amongst other things. I think dogs are especially good at sniffing out a person, or in this case, an entity's character and intentions. Back when I was a teenager, I had a golden retriever called Sunshine. I do miss him. I would take him on walks all the time around the block. He was always friendly with everyone. If he wasn't, and that was rare, I knew instantly that whoever that person was bad business. So in closing, I think you're very smart to trust your dog's instincts. Creepy file number 9, written by K.M. Darcy. When you find out you have an imaginary friend you don't even know about. When I was a teenager, there was one night I had been hanging out with some friends and didn't have a way home, but wasn't allowed to stay, so I ended up walking around the center of town. I was walking by this alley in between a church and some other building. It was kind of a grungy place to smoke and kill some time. The interesting part was the word paradox was spray painted on the brick foundation of the church. So I sat down and started talking to myself, just kind of thinking out loud to stay entertained and awake. It's important that I express that I was talking out loud to myself, not like an imaginary friend or anything like that. When I got up, I started walking again before I heard that single wowee and a police car pulled up next to me. I knew the cop because he was an assistant coach at my school. He asked me why I was out so late and I told him. Then he asked me where my friend went. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he said he saw me talking to another kid in the alleyway before he pulled up. So I said, I was just talking to myself, and he goes, no, I saw another kid sitting across from you. I was watching the whole time. He was serious. It was like he thought I actually had a friend with me and they ran away when they saw a cop car. He ended up driving me back to my house. Looking back, I've thought maybe he was just messing with me, or that his eyes were mistaken by a shadow or something. But at the same time, it creeped me the hell out.